So you're jobless twice in 2 months.
Yeah. So technically 2 months.
That would have been scary.
Yeah, shit's scary.
What is the combined income that you have? How much money do you spend on ordering in?
Not much.
We don't generate.
Wow.
I'm of a different opinion that I don't want to invest in gold.
In terms of health insurance, do you have it? And what about term insurance for both of you?
Right now, we don't have.
How much did the entire wedding cost?
6-ish.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we both suck at planning.
I can't even tell you the jump I have taken. Like, it was a dream for me that, to reach this amount that I'm earning right now.
Do you have an emergency fund right now?
Define no.
So what was the living expense in Mumbai at that stage? Hello everyone and welcome to a brand new episode of Moneywise. Today I've been invited by Kedar and Sanika to their house. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Can you tell me what you do, both of you?
By by qualification, I'm a food technologist and a microbiologist. For last about 12-13 years, I've been working in the industry. Whether it is job or whether it is my own consulting firm. Now, as of now, for last year and a half, I've been working with company in Pune as a quality and product development manager. And right now, I'm in pet food segment basically. Earlier, I was working in human food. So, as a food technologist, my consulting firm is to do projects for various individuals and companies to set up a factory and do the food safety certification, etc., etc. So yeah, that's about. Yeah.
And Sanika, what do you do?
So basically, I'm a UX writer. I take care of all the content for the apps and websites of any product that you have. So currently, I'm working for an EV-based startup. And by qualification, I'm a linguist. So I have a master's in linguistics.
Wow.
And because I was interested in languages and everything since school, that's what brought me here. Yeah. So I just started working in 2018. Okay. So it's not a lot of time. Just 5 years since I started working full time. And yeah, that's about me.
So right now, what is the combined income that you have together?
So about 25
lakhs.
25 lakhs.
Combined.
A year. Yeah.
And how did that say look like for you individually 4 or 5 years ago, and how has it progressed now? How has the growth been like?
I can't even tell you the jump I have taken. Like, I used to earn peanuts when I was working in the media industry, and then I took a really big leap, and now it's like it was a dream for me that to reach this amount that I'm earning right now.
And Kedar, what about you?
So almost 10 times now. So if you compare, so 10 times. Yeah.
So when did you get married, and how was that entire process like?
So we got married in February this year. Wow. And it's been like 8-9 months now. Yeah. And then before that, we met in 2021 online, and we were chatting for a long time, and then we met, and then
Who slid into whose DMs? Alright, so the two of you combined have a CTC of 25 lakhs right now. What is the in-hand money that comes in every month together?
1.8.
So you have about 1.8 lakhs in hand. Now obviously you have to live your life, pay bills. So a part of that money would go towards all these activities. So usually one of the biggest expenses that any person incurs is housing. So this house, are you living on rent or is this owned?
This is owned. This is a family house basically. Okay. So as of now, primarily me and my brother, we take care of the EMI. Okay. About 10,000 rupees, just my part of EMI.
Got it. Understood. Got it. One of the other main expenses that any person would have is just groceries, food, and day-to-day living. That includes groceries, house help, electricity bill. So, how do you fund that? And secondly, how much does that add up to?
So, what we have done, so we think the income as combined income.
Okay.
What we have done, 2 personal accounts, our own salary accounts and other additional accounts,
Okay.
and a common joint account.
Got it. Okay.
So what we do, the chunk of our income, we put it in that.
Okay.
So since we got married, she takes care of the household. Almost 15,000 rupees a month she takes out for spend in household.
Got it. Understood. So you have about 10,000 going towards the rent, about 15 and 18,000 rupees going towards groceries, house maintenance.
Yes.
Yeah, I could say. Yeah.
Got it. And do you both work from home or do you have to travel to office?
No. She has the luxury.
I have the luxury of working from home for 3 days.
Okay.
So I go to office on Mondays, Wednesdays and Fridays.
Okay.
And rest of the days I'm working from home.
Okay.
Unfortunately, I have to go to the office.
Go to the office.
Yeah.
And how far are your offices from where you stay in Pune?
Both of our offices are exactly 15 kilometers from this.
In the same direction or?
No, opposite directions.
And how do you commute?
We have
our own
two-wheelers.
vehicles.
Got it.
Yeah.
So he has a bike and I have an Ola electric.
Alright. Okay.
She bought it herself this year.
And this Ola electric that you got, is there a loan on that currently?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Vehicle loan.
Yes, vehicle.
Okay, got it. And when did it start? When will it end? And what is the current EMI?
The EMI started in May
Okay.
and it'll, I think, end in the next year of December. December next year.
About 18 months?
18 months.
18 months,
Yes.
Got it. And what is the current EMI on the vehicle loan?
Almost 7,000 rupees.
Okay, got it.
7,000 rupees.
Got it. And your bike is paid for?
Yeah.
Right now.
I bought it for I bought it second-hand bike.
Got it. Yeah. I think most people, when they are buying cars or bikes in specific cases, if you get a car that is 3 or 4 years old, which is in a good condition, which doesn't have a lot of kilometers in it, you're going to get a 30-40% discount on what that same car would be if you buy it new. So as long as it's safe, I have a feeling most people who buy their first car at least, it should be a second-hand car for that specific reason. And now you have a petrol bike in your house, you have an electric vehicle in your house. How have you seen the prices of both play out since you have got that EV? Which costs how many rupees per kilometer and which is more economical actually when you use it?
So our electricity bill, we bought it in April, and barring summers, the bill is about, let's say, 2,000 rupees.
Yeah.
Now it has gone to almost 800 to 1,000 rupees extra electricity bill
Got it.
since April.
Got it. That is 800 rupees extra spent on electricity because of your travel using the EV scooter.
Yeah.
How many kilometers do you travel to office right now per day?
15 kilometers from here, but
30 kilometers
30 kilometers
Yeah,
round trip.
Yeah. So 30 kilometers round trip would cost between 1,500 and 1,700, 2,000 rupees if it was a petrol scooter.
For sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Minimum,
Yeah.
I'm saying.
So how much do you spend, because it's roughly the same distance, how much do you spend on petrol?
So the thing is that I also end up spending about 1,000 rupees or lesser than that because I use Ola as well.
Achha, okay.
So,
for the 3 days that she's home, you use
Yeah.
that. That makes sense. Got
Yeah.
it. So both of you travel the same distance to office
In a different direction.
in different directions. Yeah. You use the EV for half the days that you travel to office.
Right.
Even then, your petrol bill is 1,000 rupees.
Yeah.
So if you had used it for all days, that would be 2,000.
Yeah,
roughly speaking.
minimum. Yeah.
But your EV bill is about 800. Got it? With him traveling as well.
Yes.
And our other commutes.
Other commutes in the city, around the city.
in the city.
Yeah.
So instead of you spending 2,000 rupees on petrol, you're spending 800 rupees on EV. So that is the difference actually that you are.
Almost double or maybe
More than
2.5
that,
times.
actually.
Yeah, probably.
Now moving on to food and entertainment expenses. How much money do you spend on ordering in? So all these delivery apps, how much money do you spend per month?
No.
Not
we
much.
won't. I mean, we don't generally.
We
Sorry.
don't generally. Yeah.
And what about eating out and going out? How much does that cost?
That's a pinch point. But yeah, we go out once a week.
Once
We
a
on a date. Like
Yeah.
at least something, but it doesn't have to be expensive.
Yeah, it doesn't have to be expensive. It's as it could be as easy as a bhurji pav or something. It's just that we want to go out and have that experience. That's it.
Yeah, but sometimes
We
you want to
indulge.
sit and relax also.
Sometimes we indulge. Sometimes we don't.
Got
Yeah.
it.
So once a week it happens for sure.
Okay.
The money wise, right? Yeah. So roughly about once if you go out, so I mean it would be about ranging from 2,500 to 3,500.
Yeah.
That range, considering the localities and
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Got it. So about 10 to 15,000 per month for delivery
Maybe less.
plus going out and enjoying.
not more than
Not
10,000.
more than 10,000.
10,000 for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Understood. Got it.
But that's still quite.
Yeah.
But that's combined, yeah. That's
From
right.
mine. Yeah.
Understood. Got it. Great. So you went for your honeymoon to Kerala. Do you also like traveling otherwise?
We were in fact we were planning this like this Diwali, post Diwali. We were planning.
We
But-
had planned a vacation, but then unfortunately he was sick.
Okay.
Yeah.
And how much would that trip have costed roughly based on your budget of it?
I mean, it's Goa.
It's
So
good.
it's quite cheap. The flight tickets are also cheap.
Yeah. And stay would have. We were looking for budget stays basically,
Got
but which were like budget, but then a little like better looking
feel
and
good when you're
yeah.
The Instagram worthy. Yeah. So about 40,000 would be
Got it. And this trip was going to be for how many days?
4 nights.
4 nights.
4 nights. Got it. Great. About 10,000 rupees per day, roughly. 8 to 10,000 rupees.
Including everything.
Including everything, yes.
Got it. And how many such trips would you like to take a year, ideally?
I think twice
Twice
a year.
minimum,
Twice a year.
Got
Yeah.
it.
We want to travel.
Yeah.
On a serious note, at least international trip
Yes.
once in 2-3 years would not be a problem.
Got it. Understood. So we'll figure out if and how to budget for it as we go along.
Yeah.
Now coming to your investments and savings. Yeah. So combined across different assets, what is the monthly investment that goes in?
What I try to do personally and what I have been trying to tell her also, roughly about 15% of the income, monthly income, we try to invest in different aspects of like investments.
Correct.
So whether it is PPF, NPS, mutual fund, whether it is index funds or tax saving funds, that. And recently for about a year, I started investing in stocks also.
Okay.
I'm no expert in stocks, but my brother is like comparatively he knows better. So he suggests me a couple of stocks here and there, and I started learning also a little.
Okay.
So I invest in that also. So almost 15% of my income goes into all those investments, and about roughly same, maybe lesser, maybe 12%.
10 to 12%.
That
I have an RD, and then I have invested some amount in mutual funds and gold saving fund. That is, you invest in an app. So a certain amount is deducted from my account daily,
Okay.
and I save it in gold. Gets converted to gold.
Got it.
So
or
basically,
into cash also.
yeah, you can withdraw it as cash,
Got it.
or you sell that and
Got it.
withdraw it as
Oh,
cash.
that's yeah, that we forgot.
Yeah.
Yeah. Got it. Alright. So this gold that you're buying, one thing you have to be aware of when you're buying gold digitally in any format is that it attracts a lot of costs and charges.
Okay.
Like for example, there's GST on it. Then there is platform fee that you need to be aware of through whichever platform you're buying. Doesn't matter which platform it is, everyone will charge you a certain kind of fee. So, in my opinion, the best way to buy gold for an investment, not to wear, but the best form to buy gold in as an investment is sovereign gold bonds. So, these are issued by the RBI, and the best part about them is if you hold them till their 8-year maturity, you pay zero tax. Otherwise, if you sell this gold that you're currently buying in digital format, then you have to pay tax on it. If it's under 3 years, then that entire profit, if you have made a profit, gets added to your income and is taxed at your income tax level. Yeah. After 3 years, they factor in how much the profit is, account for inflation, and then the reduced amount, they charge you 20%. So they're 20% after indexation. In sovereign gold bonds, zero tax if you hold them till their 8-year maturity. And most people, when they're buying gold, they are not looking to sell it immediately. Buy once and sell it the next year. Yeah. So that is one thing. Secondly, they pay you a 2.5% annual interest, which is free money. Like other platforms will charge you 2.5%, not 2.5%, it depends on the platform, but they'll charge you a percentage fee. Here they pay you to hold gold, right? So because of all of this, if you buy, say, digital gold, then the return since 2015 now would have been about 8 to 9% post everything. On sovereign gold bonds, it would be about 13.5%. With gold jewelry, that would be 6 to 7% because making charges are much higher with physical gold. So something for you to consider.
So,
yes,
yeah.
absolutely. Yeah.
I'm of a different opinion that I don't want to invest in gold.
So even for me, the way I look at gold is it becomes a hedge if things are going wrong in the world. And that's why even with me, the gold investment now as a part of my overall portfolio is about 2.5%. Earlier it was 5 to 7.5%. I haven't rebalanced that gold aspect in a while, so now it's reduced to 2.5% essentially.
I don't understand gold. I mean,
Yeah.
to be honest, because interesting enough, about a couple of months ago, I asked my father. I just wanted to know from his perspective. Why didn't he think of this? Why didn't he think of investment? Why didn't he think of maybe PPF, other investment, different investments? How do you see? Because since he was in banking, so he has a better perspective. So he said the gold prices have always been according to the income. For example, if you are earning 1,000 rupees, it was roughly about your monthly salary for 1 gram, like 10 grams. Now it's still same or maybe lesser. So that's different. There's a huge difference now.
Correct.
So yes, the prices have gone up, but your income has also gone 2 folds, 3 folds, 10 folds.
Correct.
So from that perspective, I think, that's really not an investment.
Correct.
I would rather rely on compounding.
Correct.
So that's what I think.
Correct.
But this is my like basic knowledge. Huh?
Yeah, no, absolutely. So the thing with gold, the reason why gold investing is tricky is because people have this big misconception that gold prices never fall and they always keep going up. We have always heard of people around us say, मैं gold में invest कर रहा हूँ because उसका price कभी गिरेगा नहीं, right? Now that's a big misconception. If you look at the past 35-40 years, there have been 3 instances where gold's price from where it was, for it to go back after many years, past that initial price, it took 7 to 10 years. There have been 3 instances like that. Now the challenge with this becomes, the latest instance by the way being 2012 to 2019. What gold price was in 2012, it never got to that price for 7 years. So that's something people should know. But again, since 2016, 2017, the returns have been really good.
Yeah. So I remember buying in 2017 was 33,000. So it has gone up to 60,000.
Correct. So people have a lot of emergency fund money in gold because they always feel that gold prices never fall, but that is the biggest misconception. Because if you are found on the wrong side of a gold bull run or a gold bear run, then you're in trouble. So something, again, I agree with you there. If you find the right gold cycle, then you can make decent money. If not, like all other assets, volatile assets, it will not give you decent returns. You recently went through an episode of dengue where you were hospitalized for 7 days. So how was that experience for you in terms of health insurance? Do you have it? And how much hospital bill was covered by that health insurance? How much did you have to pay out of pocket?
Zero.
Yeah.
Wow.
Great. Okay.
So I have health insurance which covers about 25 lakhs worth, and the premium is about 14,000.
Okay.
So the bill for the recent hospitalization was about 50,000.
Okay.
And it was covered with it was cashless.
Great. Super.
Fortunately, and it was sorted quickly.
There you go. So Kedar has a health insurance. Do you have a health insurance right now?
I don't have a health insurance right now, but I'm planning to get one. I had one in 2021, which which ended last year, but I did not renew it. So now I want to buy a health insurance now. So on my next birthday, that is the goal for my next birthday, that I'll gift myself a health insurance.
Got it.
So,
and what about term insurance for both of you?
Right now we don't have, but so I'll tell you the reason for this term insurance, because the day I got health insurance, the very next day I was planning to get term insurance.
Got it.
But I waited because we were planning, that's one of our long-term goals, that we want to buy a house for our own house.
Got it.
So for that purpose, we were waiting. So because as far as I know, if you are buying a house, then in case of any emergency or any mishap, you need to have term insurance. Or rather, with a loan, the bank also suggests that you get term insurance. I was thinking from that point of view.
Got it.
So actually that's something that is I want to work on, like quickly I want to get that.
Got it.
Maybe couple of months.
Got it.
I'll buy.
So one thing, Kedar, I would definitely say here is that the insurance that you're talking about right now kind of falls in the realm of home loan insurance. Okay, so that is where the bank wants a guarantee that in case the borrower is not there anymore, they get their money. So they are safe. Now the challenge though is that home loan insurance is more expensive in most cases than term insurance.
Okay.
Yeah, because home loan insurance has other things added to it. And in a lot of cases, it would only cover you for the first 5 or 10 years of that home loan tenure, not after that. So the challenge with that becomes that it doesn't act as a pure term insurance. And outside of your responsibility towards the bank, you also have a financial responsibility towards your family. So, Kedar, in your case, for example, both of you are earning, but it's a life you're building together. Same thing for you, Sanika, right? Both of you are earning almost the same amount. So you can still be independent in a way, but still you're dependent, correct? Because you're building this life together. So when you buy term insurance, you want to make sure that you are making sure your part of expenses are paid for. Secondly, as a young married couple, if you want to have kids in the future, you also want to start thinking about that, because once you have a kid, there are going to be other costs that are associated, education being the biggest. Now, the challenge with term insurance is that it's dependent on two things. Firstly, your finances, both of you are having strong incomes, having salaried jobs, so it becomes very straightforward. The second thing is health. So if you develop a critical illness, a term insurance company or life insurance company would not give you term insurance. And you don't know when you will get a critical illness. It could be an accident-related critical illness, natural critical illness. So if that happens, and it could happen anytime, right? Even for young people, I'm sure all of us know someone or the other who's under the age of 35, 40 who has gotten cancer. So now if it's a rare situation, it's increasing. The Pfizer CEO in a statement had said 1 out of 3 people who are currently living would get diagnosed with cancer, which is, the odds are ridiculously high, 33%. So now you want to make sure, and not just cancer, there are other illnesses that you can develop too. But the challenge then is, if you have developed anything, even if you're free of that, it becomes tricky to get insurance. Your application will get rejected. So, Kedar, I would recommend not to wait until you buy that house, because that may happen in the next few months, or it could happen 2 years later. So I think a term insurance that covers 10 to 20 times your annual income, I would say 20 times your CTC is a good amount to get, because that ensures that your current liabilities are getting covered, number one. And number two, even future responsibilities. Because dependency in this case is not just dependency right now. It is dependency of the future as well. So you want to, correct. So you want to also take that into account. Same thing for you, Sanika. Have a term life insurance that is 10 to 20 times, 10 being minimum, 20 being ideal. You are under 35, you are 35, both of you can get a max term insurance of 30 times your gross salary. So if you can get that, great. But think of the 10 to 20 times as a thumb rule to follow when it comes to securing your finances.
What would you recommend? There are some, because I had searched,
correct,
I got the quote, everything. I almost was paying that, but for this thought, I waited. Okay. The person who was offering me term insurance, the company, said that you can offer 2 types. He said 10 years you pay the premium and you will be free of the premium. You don't have to pay another penny. And the other option was you pay for next 30 years or 40 years, till what age you want to cover. So my thought was, my friend's thought was, it's okay. It's like, let's say for example, 25,000 a year, I have to pay a premium for term insurance for next 60 years, maybe next 40 years, let's say. So the value of 25,000 after 30 years is going to be like as cheap as 3,000 rupees now, for example. So what would be the ideal thing? Because right now paying 25,000 is still a good chunk. For next 10 years, if I'm paying that, that's what the confusion was. Correct. What to opt for? What is logical and what is ideal?
Yeah. So for most people, paying for the entire tenure of the term insurance is the better decision. For example, if you have a 30,000 premium today and you have a policy, you're 35 years old, you have a policy till the age of 65. So 30 years later. Yeah. Even at a small inflation of, let us say, 7%, right? Even at that rate, in your last year of paying that 30,000 rupee premium, the value of that 30,000 will be about
2,800 to 3,000 rupees.
of today's money. Yeah. So that is very low money that goes out. Yeah. So always opt for till the time you are getting insured for. And also a lot of companies that would give you quotes. The thing you want to know is the higher your premium in life insurance, the higher the commission to the agent. So by asking you to pay in 10 years, the agent gets more money because the premium is higher. That is number one. Number two, there's also another way, return of premium. Return of premium policy where you get the money back in case you're still alive, even though premium for that is higher. That's higher money to the agent. Yeah. Thirdly, for a lot of people, having the policy till the age of 65 or 70 makes the most sense. Because by the age of 70, most of your financial responsibilities are over. Kids are old enough. Parents you have taken care of. If you have lived until 70, you have made enough investments for you to fund your own and your partner's retirement together. Yeah. So, don't opt ideally beyond 65 or 70 unless you have a very valid reason. Because if you do, then the premium again goes up. If you buy a policy till the age of 85, which is again good news for the agent because the agent gets more money.
Oh, okay.
So when people come to me for advice, I tell them I'll be more than happy if you go for these fancy things in term insurance because I get more money, but I don't think you should be doing it. So that is one thing you need to know about the insurance field.
So ideally would be 60, 65.
I would say ideally would be 65. That also depends on whether you would have kids. Because let's say you have kids in the next 1 to 5 years, then at the age of 65, if you have a kid after 5 years, that kid is 25, so may need money. You don't really know. Yeah. So maybe till 70, I think is a safe bet for most people. So till 70, most of your responsibilities are done and they would be taken care of. So I think 70 is a safe bet. 75, if you want to be a little more cautious because you're not sure what the situation would be. And kids is a big aspect of this, but it's also not the only aspect. It is also how, for example, I feel in today's age, we also need to factor in AI into making these calculations. Because of AI, quality of life, health, and everything else would improve. So we may live longer. We may be earning money for much longer periods, and not only till 55 or 60. So that's also something. But who knows? That's a very unknown variable. So tricky to predict. But
ideally,
65, 70, I think would be a good idea. And with health insurance, I would also recommend to not wait until your next birthday. Because the same logic that is applicable in term insurance, where it's dependent on your health, and as long as you're healthy, you are free of a critical illness, you would get health insurance. That is applicable even in this area. So while you're healthy, when you're young, go for the health insurance and don't wait for your next birthday because that's not going to really matter in terms of the cost and anything else like that, because there are slabs in health insurance. So usually those slabs are 5 years. Brackets of 5 years.
25 to 30.
Yeah. Or the first bracket in many insurance companies is 18 to 35. So it's just a uniform premium for everyone. And then it's a 5 or 9 year of slab after that. So insurance is something, do not wait for it. You want to buy it, get it right now. That's the biggest thing to follow in personal finance, simply because you don't know when you will need it. But anyone who's ever used insurance knows how valuable it is.
Yes.
Yeah.
You saved out on 50,000 rupees out of pocket right now because you had health insurance.
Totally recovered.
Totally recovered, right? For the next 3-4 years, you're set with that money that you have paid.
Adding to that, what should we look for in a health insurance company, or which one should we choose and what should we look for?
So with health insurance, you want to make sure that no treatment should have a limit on it. You should be able to, like for example, Kedar has a 25 lakh plan. In a good health insurance, there'll be no limit on how much you can claim for, say, something like cataract or something like joint replacement. You can claim up to the entire sum assured you have, the cover you have. That's number one. Number two, no capping on room rent of any kind. So you should be able to choose single private room, deluxe room, AC room, whatever it is. There should be no co-payment. So in the world of health insurance, co-payment is, if the bill is 100 rupees, you have to compulsorily pay a percentage of it. And that depends from policy to policy. Usually, in a bad policy, you will have co-payment, where you compulsorily pay 20% every single time. That is added money from your end. That reduces the premium you pay. But that is being penny-wise pound foolish.
Yeah. So that's why these premium insurance, they show, right, advertisements. The premium is 500 rupees or 200 rupees, 100 rupees. I think that's how they sell it also.
In fact, let me do one thing. there's a course that I'm doing on health insurance where you know exactly which plan to buy in less than 20 minutes. I'm going to share it with you for free today
Okay.
on this show.
Nice.
So I will give it to you and you'll get access to it and then you will know which plan to buy right away. So with all your expenses, with the 15% of the money you have combined that is invested, you are still left with together about 50 odd thousand rupees every single month. Now, what happens with that right now?
So see, what we are planning is, this is apart from, let's say, combined 15%, we put it in a joint account also.
Okay.
So that is our long-term, short-term goals.
Okay.
For that, we save separately and we don't touch it.
Okay.
We don't open, we don't operate that.
Okay.
For the remaining money that you're talking about, so we generally are left with, I think the same amount you talked about, right? So what I do, rather, ये आदत मैंने इसको भी लगाई है कि for the next month EMI we need to be ready. So if at all the company pays a day extra or there's a public holiday on weekends, so we shouldn't have any problem. So what I do and what she also started doing, that we put out additional money for the next EMI. So the first of month I have, let's say for an example, I have an EMI of 5,000 rupees. So I'll keep that aside and with addition to our existing EMIs and so technically I spend 2 months EMI at a time.
Got it. Understood.
Yeah.
Understood.
Similarly goes for her because her EMIs are a little bigger chunk.
Got it.
So what, 11,000?
11,000 combined.
Yeah, this is the vehicle, electric EV scooter and the laptop that you have purchased. Oh, got it.
So for me also, the phone EMI that I have, so I keep that aside also the next month so that it wouldn't be a problem. And before first of every month, I put it back in my account. So it gets deducted.
Understood.
Yeah.
Understood. Now, one thing that I have noticed with this specific thing that you talked about, that you always want to have one extra EMI that is in your bank account, saved, not available to spend, not touched. So that tells me that you want to be prepared for a rainy day, a time of an emergency.
Right.
Now in 2020, there was a time when in less than 3 months, because of life happening, the pandemic and everything else, you lost 2 jobs in a 3-month period. So do you have an emergency fund right now?
Right now, as defined, no.
Okay.
But yeah, we have common account, as I said, joint account. In case of any emergency, we'll have access to that. But I want to even further separate it out.
Yeah.
So for long-term goals, let's say a big purchase of house or maybe an international trip also. For that and for our emergency funds, separate.
So right now, when it comes to your monthly expenses, you have a 1 lakh fixed cost that goes out every single month for everything included, right? Yeah. So if you ideally want to be tension free, you want to have between 3 to 6 months of expenses saved at least. Minimum 3, because in 3 months you kind of figure out what to do, how to get your life back on track. But ideally 6, at least I would say, because then that gives you the freedom and luxury of time, because money buys you time in the case of an emergency. And then, you don't take the next job that may not be as good. You can afford to wait for going to one more company, applying to one more job. So one thing I would recommend is, right now, for the past 5-6 months, you have been setting aside 50,000 rupees. So you have already in a way built up 2.5-3 lakhs combined, right? So that is a very good start. It's a very good foundation to have just less than a year into your marriage when you're building this together. So I would recommend you to keep doing that. Maybe one consideration is, rather than having this money sit idle in a savings account, it could be in a debt fund, a debt mutual fund, a corporate bond fund. These are all mutual funds that invest in bonds, where instead of your savings account 3-4%, 2% that you get, here you're getting maybe 6 to 8%, somewhere in the middle of that. From the next month onwards, you can have an SIP in a debt fund.
Yeah, that's something.
Right? So to paint this picture, if you think about it, a year, 3 months later, you have your current 3 lakhs in your joint accounts, joint/individual accounts, but money that you have combined. You have 3 more lakhs sitting in a debt fund. And then for around 8 months, you're again putting that 30,000 into differing goals that you have.
So that's something because I mean, with all due respect to her, she's not into planning finance that much. She understands basics. So what on behalf of her also, I plan the financing.
Correct.
So from what I understand from friends and other people online, like influencers like you, investing for the bigger chunk, because our separate investments and the bigger chunk investment that we need to do for short-term goals, long-term goals, and emergency funds, I necessarily don't have the ability to understand about the funds that you just talked about. But I want to grow that money basically.
Got it.
So instead of ideally sitting there in the account getting 3-4%, I would rather get more. Like
Yeah, so the challenge that you're facing right now is you're putting aside 50,000 rupees in a savings account where you're getting between 2 and 4%. Now, ideally, you want to get more returns than that, but at the same time, ensure safety, ensure liquidity, and you're not sure where to then invest this money.
Right. So the basics I understand, but still there are a lot of options
Correct,
now.
correct. 100%.
Millennial problem.
100%.
That you have multiple options and you don't understand.
Correct.
More options than required.
Correct.
So I had almost thought of investing, let's say, that amount into blue chip fund or index fund.
Got it.
That I can liquidate any time I
Got
want.
it.
But I didn't see.
Yeah, but don't do that, because what happens is with blue chip funds or index funds or any equity mutual fund, a mutual fund that invests in stocks, you aren't able to tell whether it will give positive or negative returns in a short duration of time. Yeah. Because its stock market's value keeps fluctuating. Yeah. So now, because this money is kind of an emergency fund for you right now, if let's say you need this money 3 months later, but the market is down 10% from now. Right. So now instead of 3 lakhs, you have 2,70,000. So that becomes a problem. Yeah. Then secondly, savings account, as you said, you're getting lower interest. So the next 50,000 that you save now per month together, outside of the investments that you're making, I think 20,000 just beef up your index funds and ELSS schemes to max out your tax savings. Yeah.
Okay.
And the remaining 30,000, start investing in such debt mutual funds or bond mutual funds. So I think that's because compared to your earning capacity, you're investing 15 to 17.5%, 20% right now of the money that you're bringing in hand. Okay. Now by adding another 20,000, so your savings very quickly would go up to 30% of your total in hand money, which is a huge amount.
Yeah.
And when I talk to people about how much they save, how they handle their finances, believe me, very few people are actually investing 30% of their in hand money.
Yeah.
So because both of you are young, you have this headway and room to just build up a solid foundation. And you're already on track with that 3 lakhs saved in the joint accounts. So that kind of, I think, is something you should be happy about. Now, we'll wrap this up. I have a few questions for you.
Yeah.
So first of all, Sanika, tell me, you've been a Mumbai girl for almost all your life.
Yes.
And now you're married to someone from Pune, living in Pune. Which city do you like more?
Oh God, that is. I like Mumbai because I've lived there and I have all my friends there. But now I like Pune more because it's
You like Pune more?
Yeah, because it's very laid back.
For the Pune girl,
It's very laid back and I like laid back stuff.
Yeah.
Now after COVID,
Got it.
I used to be on the run every day, and now it's like it's relaxed. I can go to office at 11 a.m. Nobody questions because it's flexible timings. So
I'm telling you, that's not because it's Pune, it's because you have a good boss.
And that's because of company policy of flexible
company
working
policy.
hours.
As long as
That's
you
not
work.
how it works.
And tell me one thing that after you guys got married, that you were surprised by in terms of finances, that you hadn't thought of earlier.
Oh, interesting.
Oh, nice.
We don't realize we spend a lot on unnecessary things.
Absolutely, yeah.
So, for example, while coming back from the office, if any of them tells me to buy something, 500 rupees आराम से जाता है.
Correct.
And in index fund, you can invest 100 rupees also.
Correct.
So you see the difference, right?
Correct.
And sometimes you'll buy Maggi ले लिया. A big 6-pack का Maggi आता है about 80 rupees probably. 100 rupees in index funds.
Yeah.
So I started comparing every time.
Got it.
So I mean, it gets boring at times. But I think
you can see the color in her face drop when you said that.
So I think like, "Arey,
We
500 rupees."
compare some, not even apples to oranges. It's like apples to watermelon. मतलब इतना difference नहीं करना, इतना भी करना नहीं चाहिए ऐसा हमने.
I'll tell you a remedy because I am very conscious when it comes to spending money. I'm very, very frugal. So, to a point where I realized it's not healthy. Because I used to have fun in my mind, but things were happening around me that weren't very nice. So, there is an American blogger called Nick Maguli. He has a brilliant blog called Of Dollars and Data. And he has this rule which made a lot of sense to me. Anytime you want to buy anything, let's say it costs 2,000 rupees. Buy it for 2,000. But also invest 2,000 on the side.
I do that now.
So
I started doing that.
Match 1 for 1. I am very frugal, so I match 1 for 2. So 2,000 spend करो तो 4,000 invest करूँगा. That takes care of the guilt a bit.
I do that.
Correct. And one last question before we finish this conversation. So if your financial life was a meme, what would it be?
Office reference somehow manage. Somehow I
manage.
manage.
Nice, huh? Good. And she has not seen The Office.
Yeah.
Oh, come on.
Yeah,
You have to. But she still got nothing.
She still got better. That's what she said.
Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Kedar and Sanika. This was a pleasure. Hopefully, this conversation helped you out in figuring out your personal finances a little better.
Yes.
For sure.
Absolutely.
And it was quite insightful for us
Yes.
also. Discussing finance, and we have not discussed finance in like such depth.
Yeah.
We do.
Correct.
We do in terms of numbers.
Correct.
It's quite mechanical at times.
Yeah.
But it's not so much of depth, the pros and cons, and of course your technical input also. Yeah.
I'm glad. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Alright, Kedar and Sanika. Tell our viewers what to do to please the God Almighty YouTube algorithm.
Go, please like the video.
And share and subscribe with your friends. Thank you.